Chapter 29 is about development and inheritance. Now, in development, we're looking at how genetic, environmental, and physiological processes affect prenatal development and then throughout the lifespan. I'm going to focus in on the prenatal development because most of you take human growth and development, and that's going to cover the remainder of the human lifespan. Now, what we'll see is we're starting off here at fertilization, right, when a sperm meets up with that secondary oocyte that was released from the ovary. When we look at the developmental processes that take place, they fall into a couple different categories. We talk about pre-embryonic development, and that's going to take place in that period of time between fertilization and 2 weeks. So really the first 2 weeks of development. Embryonic development then is from weeks 3 to 9 weeks, right? And from there, then we're looking at fetal development. Right? And that's going to take us from the 9 weeks on to birth at around 9 months. Okay. Now, when we talk about this development, this is an important distinction to make here. When we talk about development, we're referring to the gradual changes in anatomy and physiology that take place in an organism, in this case a human. Okay. There's of course also during this time period dramatic growth, right, just an increase in size, but development refers to the changes in anatomy and physiology. We also see really important differentiation of cells, and this is particularly early on in the developmental process, where cells are going to start to gain their adult function, right? When you start out as this fertilized egg, it's going to divide and divide and divide, and even though all the cells, all the trillions of cells in your adult body came from this single zygote, this fertilized egg, we see that they have different roles, right? Differentiation is when they pick up those specialized roles, so specialization. Of cells, right? Even though all your cells have the exact same genetic material, some become liver, some become small intestine, some become kidney, and on and on. This specialization then is a result of differential gene expression. We'll get into this a little bit more, but basically some genes get turned on in liver cells that tell it to act like a liver cell, and other genes in other cells are turned on that might make an epithelial cell, right? And so that's differentiation, the specialization of cells. We'll also talk a little bit in this chapter about inheritance, right? How traits that are actually genetically passed on from generation to generation, the patterns that is going to follow. So that's what we're heading for here in chapter 29.